Bismillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I was given the most difficult task in a few minutes to, I guess, sum up what went on the last 2 days, all the good stories that we heard, all the inspiration, and do justice as I capture all of those, which is very difficult. But I just want to say something. We came together to describe the risk factors faced with the youth, right? But in the process, we described the risk factors facing families, yeah, communities, and then our nation as well as the youth. Does it make you wonder why? I mean, we were talking about youth, and why are we talking about families and communities and the nation as a whole? Because when you think about it, we are a nation at risk. We're not just youth at risk. Our youth are not the ones at risk. Our families are at risk. Our communities are at risk. Therefore, our nation is at risk. So in that wholesome, total view, I hope each one of us reflects on what we have heard as far as identification, what is the problem facing us, what are the options for solution, and what are the inspirational acts and initiatives that were attempted by some who are already members of this group. We heard about Africa Rights Monitor, we heard about Baramabaro, we heard about Dadaab, we heard about so many different other Somali youth, United Somali Youth, a lot of different programs. And these are initiatives that some people like yourselves, and some of you are already members of these organizations, are already doing. So conferences like this are supposed to be an inspiration. I mean, oftentimes people attend conferences, and we repeat this thing, by the way, every year, to remind people that it's not just something that should last the next few days, but it should be something that inspires us to action. And then next year, when you get back, you can talk about what you have done. You know, something that we can all take home, not just to talk about and tell our friends and post on our in Facebook and all these other social networks, sites, and so forth and so on, but to actually do some action, because an action is definitely needed. And as I said, we are a nation at risk. So I want to close with the surah in which Professor Warfa earlier mentioned in the Quran, and in which captures the whole thing about this religion of Islam in a very simple way, one of the shortest surah that most of you know, and it was read earlier, but I want to say it in English because it was said in Somali, so everyone can really capture that. And the surah is, first I'll read it, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. That God swears by the essence of time, the mystery of time, or the time of the prayer, the middle prayer, that human being is indeed faced with destruction, moral destruction. And moral destruction is the worst form of destruction. It is what makes the human being more savage than the beasts of the jungle. See, the beasts of the jungle don't invade other tribes and eliminate them. They don't invade other people and them out. They don't oppress people, but human beings, when they lose when they lose their morality, they tend to oppress. They tend to oppress, something that the beasts of the jungle don't do. So in here, God reminds us that the worst thing that can happen to us is going to happen to people except those who are in 4 categories. And then the 4 categories, it's laid out clearly. Those who have a sense of faith, and we talked about having some kind of, for the person to have moral anchor, okay? that the person is always fearing about being accountable, even when no one is looking at them. That the person is self-policing himself or herself, even if people are not looking, even if the authority is not present, you know. So that's one. The second thing is that the person is always performing good deeds, you know, good deeds. This is what we were talking about, you know, helping others. You know, we just heard the closing 4 stories that we heard. You know, these are people that they don't know about each other. People who are thousands of miles away. And you know, nothing attests to our sense of humanity better than caring for others that we don't know. Someone who's not related to us. Imagine that. This attests to our humanity. You know. So that's the second category. First, we said the belief. Second is the good deeds. The third is, you heard, counseling each other on that which is just. You know, having sense of justice, reminding one another that when somebody is violating somebody else's rights, that we remind them, we make the call on them, you know. We sever the relationship with them if necessary. We oppose them in every way possible until they correct their ways. And then counseling each other on patience, because everyone is going to be tested, you know. There's a test that our nation is going through, a test, right? Each and every one of us, our families are going through a test. Our communities are going through a test, right? So if we remember that and we leave with that message in mind, we accomplish a lot. I hope to see each and every one of you next year, and those who are watching us online. As far as where is it going to be held next year, I'm put on the spot. I don't want to even say where. Because remember, somebody raised the question yesterday and said that, can we hold it in Minneapolis? And then there was still a discussion. So I'll leave that with a big question mark. Those of you online can, yeah. So you will hear it through the communication. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you very much.
And there's no better way to end it other than that. So I want to thank everybody who dedicated their whole weekend. I know we have a few hours till the sun sets, so enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's a brand new week, so it's a start for a brand new you, a brand new start. Every day is a new start. Every day is a fresh start. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you so much for supporting and coming, and we'll see you all next year. Thank you, everybody.